Hello. Can we hear that voice? The one that was supposed to be Oscar's original?
Oh, yeah, this was a joke, but yes. Come on in. There's always room for another.
I thought it was Chris Allen's voice.
Oh, very good. Very good. Flirt.
I'm a lady.
Okay, well then.
He is the Hearthstone innkeeper. That's correct.
Jesus Christ. So, anyways, let's keep going. So,
Look, we just stumbled out of the starting gate. But we're still moving.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. Hold on. We can do better than that, Doxy. We can do better than that. Look, you read the book.
I need one more. Not arcane lore. Sorry, I actually need you to. And funny enough, you rolled well on this. A researcher check for you as you're finishing up your research for the spell to get it put into your category.
Me? Okay.
Mm-hmm. You have a focus, at least.
13.
It's not horrible.
Unfortunately, you guys spent many hours here, like long into the night. You're so close to understanding the spell. But even as you have to eventually you have to throw in, you know your own limits. Trying harder now, you might actually just cause a magical disruption. You might actually cause a mishap in trying to learn it, because you can feel sparks kind of forming, you can feel the magic, but you can't quite get it. Mm-hmm. And you know that if you push yourself any harder, you could cause an issue. So, anyways. Doxy, you obviously switched over to a different form of researching. Again, you're very tired now. Same as you, Laszlo. You've switched. I don't mean typical, oh, you're tired, or keep pushing. I mean, no, you guys, obviously that was the intention originally. You guys pushed well beyond that. The servants are kind of oh, is there anything else we can do for you? There's no tone, no judgment. None of them are kind of oh, still here, huh? No, nothing like that whatsoever. They are all, of course, very professional. But even Laszlo, who has literally spent hundreds of years researching, he's very tired. You guys know you've reached kind of your limit here, and you're going to have to spend the night somewhere.
I mentioned that I slid those books I meant that. She actually did that. She was being funny and cute when she did that, and she was like, I'll be in the carriage. But really what she does is she goes and she finds the I guess the butler, the
which one? But yeah, the main guy.
Yeah.
Chapon.
Mr. Shep. Mm-hmm. And she'll be working on buttering him up until he possibly offers them a room for the night as it's getting late. She's gonna try to do that.
Oh, one of those. Okay, yeah. Okay. I'll just have you roll a kind of as you're spending some time talking with him and so on and so forth. So it's and I imagine it starts off as oh, and so how long have you been serving the family? Oh, ha ha ha. And it's a lot
and
of back and
lots
forth.
And lots of compliments on how good he looks, how good the place looks. Yep. How the RCM family must be very happy. I wish that the academy had servants like you. If you ever find yourself out, please come to the academy.
No, now you're sharking. So anyways, and the occasional, after a while, thrown in there. You roll me a communication check. Technically, it's not a persuasion. Communications check.
Yeah. Fuck.
So it's one of those things where he continues to be courteous, continues to be kind, so on and so forth, but he doesn't go so far as to offer anything like a spending of the night inside the estate.
Okay.
Very friendly with you, though. Very friendly.
Yeah, no, that's fair. She's not going to outright ask for it because that would be so fucking rude. Mm-hmm. So she'll be like, well, I'll retire. Walk out.
And eventually everybody kind of makes their way out, having done, we're talking good 12, 14 hours of research inside this library. Yes, sir.
Copied out the spell onto a piece of parchment?
You want to try to do that? It's one of those things where, as you realize, he's kind of getting to the tail end. The sparks, everything I've already described has already happened. So this would be another action happening kind of as of now.
Can I help him? If this is if he's I really want to get this, would this be an arcane lore thing, or is this a research thing? Or
I'm actually going to have you guys, this is going to be a flat intelligence check to do this at this point. Now, I don't know who's going to be the primary roller for it.
I already left.
Laszlo.
What I will
Laszlo.
say,
Go ahead. Sorry.
what I will say is, despite the fact that both of you are kind of like working on this together, how tired you are, I'm going to impose a -2 to the roll.
Then definitely Laszlo is going to do the roll if it's an intelligence roll, flat.
Magic never goes wrong in Laszlo's history.
no. I wish he was like arcane lore because I can re-roll.
That's actually not terrible, though, all things considered.
Well, it's a -2,
so it's 9. That's still not terrible, all things considered.
Yeah.
Not a crit fail.
A 9 is you beat an easy check, which means you failed. Because you definitely didn't beat a 9's not going to be enough to win this. Anything you do with that stunt, though?
You don't get the stunt points if you fail.
Oh, fair enough. Never mind.
Yeah.
Wait, stunt points can't turn a failure into a success?
No, you don't get them if you fail. That's like the stunt thing is to
weird.
improve.
Like, I get it, but I feel like never mind. Sorry, this is.
I mean, it's up to
Outside of the game.
Scott, obviously. Like
Different-
if
I always
it's a
think of
check,
Star-
if
I always
it's
think of,
certain
like-
checks,
Like
you know?
Star Wars, because in Star Wars you have, you can have like triumphant failures and despairing successes and so on and so forth. But either way, that's fine. You guys don't succeed. It's one of those things where you spend like another hour and a half in there, and it's just one of those things where eventually you just have to stop and look down and be like, "This is some of the sloppiest shit I've ever written." I imagine Chris Allen's long asleep.
I would have gotten the carriage and brought it closer, so that they wouldn't have had to walk. Like, as soon as they walk outside of the property, they would see the carriage.
There's like somebody parking their RV in front of like a mansion.
No, outside of the property. Like, it's not on their property at
Come
all.
on, y'all, hop on in my
Oscar's
my
going
house
to
here.
hand the book to Laszlo as they're about to walk out, and he's just going to be rubbing his eyes and just starting to walk towards the door and just be like, all right, I guess I have to go to bed. And I'm going to walk out.
Oh. Okay, would I know that the spell in this room would catalog books as well? Like if a book walked out of the room.
Steal it.
That's a really good question.
I mean, I don't know that based off of my previous. Okay, I'm not going to risk it. If
You
I don't
understood
know.
what transpired as it transpired, but not prior to.
All right, I'm not going to risk it. I'll just put it on the table and I'll go. The invisible servants will take care of this. Walk out. I mean, that's what their job is.
You're the
Do your
guy.
job.
You're the guy that drops your like candy wrapper on the ground in a parking lot. She's like, "No, I'm supporting somebody's job." That's you. Yep, that's you.
I mean,
Yep.
You're more like the person that leaves the tray behind at McDonald's.
yeah. Like those are two totally different things.
That's maybe more reasonable.
Pollution or just being inconsiderate. That's just two different things. Yeah. So I'll head back and I'll be right behind Oscar.
Okay.
Proud of you.
Make your way into your little wagon there. Your cart, your carriage. My apologies.
Oscar would be very courteous as well on his way out and just say, thank you again for all of your hospitality. And may the honor of Amalta be on the house. It is. I'm sorry. I'm very sleepy, but please have a lovely night.
And so you guys head back to the carriage and you go to spend the night. But the carriage can't just sit here. As a matter of fact,
No, I was just bringing it close so that they wouldn't have to walk as far. That's all.
As a matter of fact, there's really no place where this carriage can just kind of just sit unless you're actively kind of like storing it somewhere. So it kind of gets to where you need to just keep moving in the city because it's like you can't just like park somewhere and just spend the night. So luckily, of course, you have somebody pulling the carriage. You actually have a coachman. They're tired themselves, having been waiting for you guys to return. Oh yeah, of course. So they're gonna have to kind of like stay awake throughout the rest of the evening.
Chris
moving
Ellen
the
would be
carriage.
willing to take a half rest so that the carriage driver could rest.
You mean like first of all, you mean like so you're gonna sit out there and ride the carriage around and keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He refuses that option. Absolutely not, ma'am. Of course not. You know.
The offer stands. Sometimes
Of
they're
course.
best in bed.
Very gracious of you. Of course. Very. I expect no less. I mean, but no, absolutely
Any
not.
objection to me taking over the reins for a moment?
I mean, he is an Ipsum, but wait, what's it called again? Not
A
Ipsum.
master. He's a master.
No. What's the word?
A
No,
Venator?
not him. Not him.
Me?
The servant.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I don't know.
It's Doxy. What the hell is it called? What's that branch called? Where's my chat with Doxy?
Oh, one of the is he a Well, which one is it?
There we
though?
go. He's a pyrite.
A pyrite.
So he's a
Okay.
pyrite. Yep, there we go. I couldn't think of the word as Ipsum. He's a pyrite. So I mean, he gladly let the Venator take over. Sure. Yeah. There you go. Thanks, sir. And we'll definitely go take a nap. It's sexist. No, he would do it to a male diamond as well, or not diamond. Yeah, diamonds as well. So, anyways, you guys can of course whatever and get your rest. What's your plan here moving forward?
We have to turn in the carriage and procure a new wagon and horses.
Okay.
We might have to do a job or two in order to afford it. I have 100 gold.
No, absolutely not. That is not the case. Remember, the queen sent you on this task, and you have a master Venator with you. You simply just need to request it, and you would be able to get yourself a couple of horses. You'd have to pay for things like storage of your own wagon. Oh, no, you don't, because you have an estate here, not your particular house, but the Jewels of Eroth have an estate here, so you can store it, and you have to pay a fee for it. You know what I mean? Which is not that crazy. But borrowing of horses, you just commission it from the military, and they would do so.
I wonder, would I be able to get lodging at the Jewels,
For yourself, absolutely.
but not for them?
They're not paying. Well, they might be. Are you gentlemen paying for services with the Jewels?
Oh, no, I have
There are
nothing.
barracks in town.
There would be a barracks in town. Yes.
Good to know. Is there a stable at this barracks?
This town has several stables throughout it. Mhm.
Good. Is there a stable house within?
Like, is there a military stable?
A military stable is what I'm asking.
But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
good. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna ask for one of the empty stalls where there would be a horse, and I'm gonna prop down and I'm gonna invite Laszlo to a spot of hay. I'm not sleeping in a barracks because he just doesn't. He feels like it's disrespectful to the people who are there.
That's
Because he's not fighting the same war they are. Not right now. He's doing something else, so it's not respectful for him to be in the barracks with them.
I've slept in worse.
Just imagine the stable boy that walks by, like cleaning out the stable in the morning, walks by like, what the? There's a gnome in. There's a map. What is going on?
Chris Ellen would beg the boys to understand that she needs to bathe.
I take no offense.
Okay, she would probably go stay at the academy here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll stay in the
Then-
stable. Don't worry about it.
I've slept in way worse conditions.
Recently, well, 10 years ago, yeah. So yeah, you guys spend the night in a stable, which is absolutely hilarious, but not a problem. It's just might take a little extra work getting your armor clean afterwards. But no, you don't care so much about that stuff when you're not like stunting for a situation. Doxy,
Exactly.
you of course have an amazing, comfortable bed, and you get it all to yourself, like California
Like a
King.
tub in my room.
Yeah, oh, it's so incredible, and you've been working with the same supply of makeup and whatnot and perfumes for like almost a week. It's nice to.
She has a
refresh and
signature
change.
scent anyway.
Oh, okay. Is it lilac and lavender? Or-
It's lilac and gooseberry is what Yennefer's is, but no, hers is green tea, roses, and grapes.
Green tea. Oh, grapes makes sense. What kind of grape? Like green grape, red grape.
Purple grape. The red grapes. Yeah.
So I get green tea and what was it, raspberry. Oh, actually, that sounds
No,
really good.
roses.
Roses.
Oh, roses.
Green tea, roses, and grapes.
I don't like roses so much, but that's fine.
I mean, a
Sounds
white rose smelling with grapes and now my brain just stopped. Green tea. Those three smells together is actually very pleasant. I have smelled that.
You guys,
It's actually definitely a perfume that I put together to build your own perfume, and I loved it. And
yeah.
Okay, there you
I
go.
love it.
I have never built. I have not worn a fragrance beyond deodorant in a long time, since before high school, I think.
Yo,
Axe, baby, Axe.
Get you
You know, just-
some body spray, bud. That shit is sexy.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
I
think
love it.
I think I
Yo.
smell. I think I smell excellent, and I've never had a complaint. That I know
Yeah,
of.
you don't have a smell at all. I've
Sure.
hugged you. You didn't smell like anything at all.
Sounds great.
No.
I
I
The
take that
beard
with-
absorbs it all.
I smelled
Yes.
terrible when you hugged me, Doxy, because I was just traveling before that.
I don't remember a particular
That's for the
smell.
best.
You smell
No,
like
that's for the
laundry
best.
detergent.
Yeah, that is fair, actually, because I was wearing clothes that were just recently put through the wash when you met
Yeah.
me. So, yeah.
So he was wearing clean clothes. I was wearing clothes. All right, moving on. So
Sorry,
no,
sure.
yeah. Please, Doxy, how did I smell? No,
I kind of want to hear how you think Will smelled. Like,
you think I sniffed Will? You think I paid attention?
you hugged Tyler, so I don't know. You're just going around giving hugs.
Listen,
whatever.
I
man.
extended my hand for Tyler, and he gave me a hug that lasted a long time. That was not a request. It transpired, and I
That
was
does
like,
sound like Tyler. That does sound like Tyler. You're
I
not
was-
wrong.
Tyler's an awesome dude. Like I love
He
Tyler.
was super fun to be with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're talking literally. So I meet him for the first time, gonna shake hand, and I get a big hug. And we're talking like 2 hours later on. I'm walking down a highway, and he's like, hallway, and he's got his arms draped around my shoulders, and he's just like, and like dragging him as he's like, as he's dragging his legs behind him. Like, now I am a mule. Which it's I am the mule. If you've seen those shows, we've all seen those
Heyo.
shows. So moving
Oh
on.
boy.
Where were we?
I had
You guys
just gotten
spend the night in the
lodging.
stall, you
They're
got
staying,
lodging,
and
yes.
yep.
Next morning, you guys are easily able to. Again, you're gonna have to pay, but not pay up front. It's when you come back, you're gonna have to pay for how long the wagon was left here, unless of course you choose to release the wagon from your service. If you choose to say, I no longer have need of this wagon, and the house may do with it as they please. No.
Yeah,
no-
we'll request a new wagon when we come back through. No big deal.
I mean, yes and no. You absolutely can request a new wagon. Again, this isn't your
Might-
house, so they don't owe
Might
it to
take
you.
a couple weeks.
Yeah, they don't. This isn't your house. It's just the Jewels of Eroth. So the people that live here, whose house this is, might have greater need for it than you. But if there's one available, they would definitely give it to you. So it's kind of one of those. I'll roll a die and see how it lands. So, but up to you. You want to just release it, the service of it?
I would ask the gentleman what they want to do. I would vote for yes, give it back to the Jewels for now. We might have luxurious accommodation on the way back home. Otherwise, I'm sure we'll be quite accustomed to the wagon that we get from the military.
Are we getting a wagon from the military?
We need a wagon from the military.
You
Definitely.
get horses.
Have you seen how much luggage we're going to be carrying?
Oh, that's right. It's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. I whatever you think is best. I
It's
wasn't
your
planning
house.
on staying in such a nice thing to begin with, so it was a bonus.
I'll be honest with you, I was fine to walk the whole way if needed.
I will miss the carriage. But I can rise to this occasion. I imagine that I will be sleeping in stables before this trip is through.
Probably not. Out in the woods, very likely. A stable, you won't be that lucky. Nowhere we're going is that nice.
It is a battle front.
A single tear rolls down her cheek.
Oscar's not a good communicator. He doesn't know when he said something that's super inappropriate.
No, she doesn't actually start crying. She
Okay.
keeps her composure and she's just like, well,
Too late to say no to the queen.
You smell lovely.
thank you.
I'll try to break the awkwardness.
She'll like go to pat on your shoulder, but end up just kind of bracing herself.
Yes.
Oscar will actually put a firm grip on your shoulder, Chris Ellen, and just say, "Don't worry, it won't be that bad."
No, I can do it. It's just surely you remember
How much
Your
luggage you have?
first
Yes.
ration
Yes.
after your mother's cooking.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of, would you like some dried jerky?
I had cheese and fruit. for breakfast, thank
Laszlo?
you.
Dried jerky?
Yes, please. I'm starving.
Yeah, absolutely. Here you are.
I just. He sounds like I'm chipping a tooth. That's what I'm trying to.
And Laszlo just bites into some. Oscar, damn it! We were in the wrong spots last week and it messed with me. Oscar also bites into his jerky and just enjoys. So?
I promise to try to not be too spoiled. I do. It just, please know that this will be an adjustment for me.
I was in a cushy job up in the north where I had my own apartment, a nice bed, the smell of strawberries every morning. I understand. It's an adjustment. But we'll be all right.
I just assume once we're in town, you'll be able to talk any man to give you up their house.
She will smile very big at you.
I mean,
No,
it's us.
Oscar turns to the stable boy. I
we're
need some
companions. We're companions, and I should learn to stay with my team.
horses. Horses. Could we get some horses? And a wagon?
They do provide horses for you, and it's one of those.
We're gonna
things-
have to buy a wagon, right?
Yeah, they're not. I mean, he's handing over a wagon because there's a difference between a riding horse, which is what they're gonna have here, and horses drawing a wagon. That's a very different training of a horse and so on and so forth, right? So they'll gladly draw for you 4 horses. Your coachman is clearly staying behind. They'll gladly draw for you 4 horses, 3 for riding and 1 for saddlebags, so that you can actually store a bunch of your stuff
That
with
will
them.
do.
Yeah, I mean, because especially Chris Ellen and Laszlo's horse, they can store a lot of stuff on those horses too. Actually, Laszlo, would you ride a horse, or would you prefer a mule or a pony? Or not
A pony.
Wait,
A pony. I think he would prefer
mule?
a pony.
Yeah, mule or pony. Yeah, I was like mule, donkey, mule.
Pony,
Pony.
we're
Okay.
going to need to rebag your things so they're not in a trunk, so they're not as heavy on the horse.
The only thing, like we discussed this last week, is if one of us gets injured, we're gonna need a wagon. Like we talked about it.
Yeah. Do they have any wagons available?
Yeah, is there like a way for us to get that?
Oh yeah, there's just a difference between having riding horses and having
Yeah.
a horse-drawn wagon.
Horse-drawn wagon is fine.
And
if
it's
that's
not
what's
to be
appropriate.
it's not a carriage either. It's a wagon.
Of
So I
course.
mean, yep, it's going to be very different. More like, and you can still have. My apologies. You can have a 2-horse-drawn wagon, so it actually have a cover over it, or you can have more like a cart, which is a 1-horse-drawn wagon. Doesn't really have a cover over it, but can pull a lot of supplies. Go ahead.
I think we probably want the 2-horse
with the cover.
and a riding horse beside that, ideally, so that I can ride a horse beside everybody while they take the wagon.
And I have 100 gold that I can throw at this problem too.
Jesus, you're thinking rich. I have 2 gold.
Again, though, you're asking for 3 horses and a small wagon. That's not a concern. You can get it from the military. They're willing to give it to a. Again, you have to remember. Like I know it's a little jarring because usually PCs, especially early campaigns, don't get this. You're a special ops person. This war has been going on for 20 years, and you are a high rank. People are just like the military is like, of course, whatever you need, Venator, let us know. You know, and even if they gave you a hard time, you can just, it's from the Queen. But obviously, you're not trying to throw that out there too much because you know that there's a degree of court that you're trying to keep quiet.
Don't mention it at all.
Of course, no, I get
at
that.
all at any point. The main thing that I say is just, we're going to the border. We have our orders. This is what we need. A riding horse and a cart.
And your character's
whiskey.
large.
Just kidding.
Your character's large, isn't he?
He's about 200 pounds and about 6 feet tall.
Okay. So for you to be the one consistently riding the horse, let's be clear, it's 3 horses that you're getting. Your horse is, of course, going to be a big good
Yeah,
horse.
it's a bulky boy.
Clydesdale.
So not quite a Clydesdale. They're owned by Budweiser.
Clydesdale.
I don't want them to sue me. So,
Owned by Budweiser.
oh.
There are people out there that have private Clydesdales.
So as for the other show, So you get the 3 horses or whatever. Now again, to describe this cart, if all 3 of you were inside the cart with your supplies, you technically can, but you're all sitting up. If you want somebody to comfortably lie down in the cart, you're gonna have 1 person lying in it with the fact that you have a lot of supplies. 2 people can lie down in the cart, especially since one of you is really small, but 2 of you can lie in the cart. It's just not very comfortable. You know what I mean? 3 of
We're
you
gonna be
in
spending
there.
some time sleeping under the cart at camp with a fire and stuff.
That is exactly. You know, it's funny. I was literally going to say, so 2 in the cart, 1 underneath it would actually work very well. So, or a tent.
I also have a tent.
Yep, perfect.
Nice.
Just to draw an image in our mind here of how it is that your characters are traveling forward. This is literally the least graceful that I imagine. It becomes appalling how little comforts you're traveling with in the first hour of traveling, Chris Ellen, because oh man, this is very different. But you again, the military is more than happy to provide these supplies for you, so on and so forth, a bit of feed and everything for these horses, for in case you don't happen to be in an area where they can easily graze. And then you're starting your travel from Brintel on. One of the last things that the military is, of course, going to tell you when you're asking how to get to the front lines, is they're going to give you the most direct path to get there. They will also inform you, because this is a military supply trail that you're going on, that it is less populated than it used to be. Feel free to not use this path if you don't want, because it has been subject to situations in the past. So it is not
and
as
stuff.
yeah. I mean, granted, it's not the border that you're walking towards is an ally's border, right? But of course, there are raids, like you said, that go behind enemy lines to get there. Let's throw this onto this image. My apologies, map onto stream for everybody again. So let's do this. Bam. So again, let me just get over so I can control that over here. So where you guys are traveling currently with your little wagon is you're currently at Brintel, and you're going to be bringing yourself all the way over to the border over here, because again, this is the thin point where Jovance is keeping Paradel outside of Malta. So you're going to be heading this direction. The actual front lines that you're heading to, like the path that you're walking along, comes kind of like this path here, leading you to that spot. If you guys wanted to, you can take a less direct path, bump into more towns, say along the border around here, get people's opinions of Jovance, or you can start saving a little bit of time. Up to you.
I mean, personally, I'm interested in us hitting a border town, but it doesn't have to be that far out of the way.
There will be border
along
towns
the way.
even there too. It's just how many you bump into versus A. If you're saying A, that you got that either way.
Maybe
Because-
hit 2.
Again,
Yeah, because I'm thinking we want information,
Yeah.
right? We don't want to walk into anywhere blind. If we can go in there, and even if we just listen to tavern folk talk.
Yeah, we were
And-
also
and-
directed to get to know the people.
Yeah. So
I think hitting at
I-
least 2 towns is a good idea.
Yeah.
So then you guys can take that more direct path to head you there. So again, using a quick little, so heading, we'll even just stop kind of right over here along this little tree on the map here for you. And that's going to be 65.5 miles. So without you, my apologies, you guys traveling at normal speed. This is not a carriage. Give me 1 second. I probably should have a kind of like a quick little chart on Roll20 for you guys for this for the future. But beforehand, you were using a. Oh, I'm not right.
Like a stagecoach, yeah.
Yeah, wait, I was in the right spot, wasn't I? So galley, longship, warship, rowboat, large cart or wagon, 16 miles. Okay, so it's the same thing. It's the same speed. So 16 miles a day. And how many miles did I just say it was?
65.
So somebody quick math that for me.
No.
My
16
brain.
times 3 is 48.
Yeah.
I get it right here. So my apologies.
Another one.
65 divided by 16 equals just over 4 days heading straight there. So even if you spent a little bit of time slowing down here and there, just because Chris Allen's like, gentlemen, I implore, I don't care if it's not that late into the evening. I need a bed. Even if it's something along those lines. You see
Of all the
5 days.
poundings my ass has taken, this has got to be the least pleasant. No, I'm just kidding. She doesn't say that. She doesn't say that.
I love that you got a little like headmistress kind of into your
That
voice
was,
when you
yeah.
said that.
Oh my god. I don't know if we're gonna survive this campaign. I think
You're the one who let me be a whore, Scott.
This is true. This is true. You have no one to blame but yourself.
That is. Do we make ass a command in chat now? Is it now a new quote? So, if somebody type up that quote so I can copy and paste, we'll make ass a new, or bed. That'll be a bed command. So, anyways, you guys, 5 days travel finally bring you to this border town. Now, as you're approaching the border, as those 5 days are passing, again, you notice along this trail, it's very different from all the other trucks that you've gone along beforehand. It is wagons that come through here. That's why you was able to get one of these, right? So bringing supplies that come through here, bringing supplies specifically from Brintel, which seems to have a lot of supplies, over to the actual border in contest here. The towns, less and less population in those towns, fewer and fewer to population, less and less, and you really get the impression that these people here are like those. You're in Malta. Malta's not really a frontier country, but you're getting that frontier kind of mentality of the citizens here, like, I don't care how bad it is, this is my home and I am moving. You know, that kind of like mentality you're getting from the people as you're getting closer and closer to the border. The border itself, like once you get like right around that area that we were discussing stopping at, the first town that you come up to, the one we're going to kind of pull our focus to, you can actually see a couple of the buildings have actually char marks on them. You find a few buildings that are husks where they've burnt down at one point in time. There are many graves nearby, not like a ridiculous amounts, but there are a good number of graves and unmarked ones. Because of course the soldiers that die at war, they're transported back to their families, their appropriate burial rights, so on and so forth. But unfortunately, not always are you able to identify the soldiers when you're fighting against mages. And so there are unmarked graves for the people that they couldn't identify. And these towns are the only place where they can get some degree of service to whatever faith that this town might be able to provide a service of. The people here are a lot more of that kind of like stern, like they're always kind of prepared. As you come riding in, even though there's a Venator amongst them, a very finely dressed and elegant looking woman and a gnome coming in, they don't give that like, Venator, hey, hi, how you? No, it's very much a giving you that cautious look. Why are you here? And definitely lingering stares at the gnome as you guys are approaching. Now, mind you, this isn't a gnomish war, but there's suspicions.
Oscar looks actually more relaxed here. This is more what he's used to.
Okay.
Can I do any type of check to look at the damages of the buildings or anything like that to see what kind of arcana or spells might have been thrown?
Are you going to just simply look at them, give them a kind of casual look? Are you going to go so far as to stop and actually like place a hand on them, touch the grooves, kind of get a little bit more
If
intimate,
we
or
are
even
in town,
magic?
if we are in town and we're stopped, then yes. Otherwise, if we're just passing them, then no. I'll
This
just
is-
look at them.
After 5 days of travel, this is like, you guys are that fifth day. So after 5 days of travel, it's like that sixth day. You're halfway through it is when you're like, finally here. You know what I mean? It's like, town, we're definitely stopping here. Chris like, I need a proper latrine, thanks. Like one of those, one of those kind of situations. So you're definitely going to have time to grab some supplies here, and this is where you are hoping to kind of speak to some people, get that general opinion beyond what I just described to you. So
Yeah,
yes.
so I'm gonna do that. I'll just spend time going around and looking at the different damages, checking them out, touching them, and doing my whole like. I'll spend MP to figure out if there's any magical damage or anything like that.
Cool.
And then also doing Arcana checks to see if I can figure out what kind of spells, because that's why we're here. That's what Oscar and I are supposed to be doing, is trying to target Arcane Congress of mages.
You, sir, Oscar, what are you doing?
I'm sticking right with Laszlo. That's what I was gonna say. Is like this is his job right now. He knows exactly what Laszlo is doing because this is exactly what he needs to do as well.
And Stocks?
I am going to try to make friends and see what kind of information we can get, what kind of lodging we can get, what kind of favors we can get,
Sure.
basically.
Beautiful. So first things first, let's go to these boys. You can spend a couple of MP, not a big deal, because I think you recharge them overnight anyways, right?
Yeah.
So it's only going to matter if we continue on. So just for simplicity, you're not going to check every building. But you think 3 MP is enough to do 3 castings, right?
It's one per touch. So
So we'll say
however-
3 different castings, 3 different MPs.
Okay.
So just spend 3 right now for me. And then why don't you roll me an Arcana check, please, to like really delve into what it is that you discover. I understand just casting gets you stuff. Holy shit, that's beautiful. And with a stunt of 5, so
I don't get 5.
no, stunt of 5 again because it also can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
How well I perform. Okay.
So hey, writing check. So you
Alert.
you brain's not working. When you go up to the first building and you're looking at it and you can just see like. There's clearly, you can just tell by the grooves along the side of this building, the charring and everything here, without even walking up to it and touching it with a spell, it's obvious that this is electricity. So the likelihood that this is a random occurrence by nature is so slim, but you need to see if there's any more. You walk up to the thing, you place your hands on it, and you cast your spell, and you lean into it. And you learn that, yes, this is in fact electricity. Yes, this is actually the kind of magical teachings that are done by the Arcane Congress. That rigid, strict kind of spell. You can feel the how the magic seems caged. The magic seems like it follows a rigid guideline to make it happen exactly as they want it to. Spells never go awry, really. If you do it the correct way, it's always the same exact result, right? Yeah. However, there's a staleness to this spell. It doesn't feel like it flowed through a mage directly. No. I can almost taste it. Papyrus. This was a scroll. This was cast from a scroll, not from a mage.
All right, I'll relay this to Oscar as it's coming through, and like the way Scott describes it is actually how my character kind of feels it. It's kind of like a sensory thing of where like I'm touching it, and then like you could see for a moment that the scarring, the electrical scarring on his hands might even light up a little bit with his own like innate electrical abilities. And then he'll just look at you and TC goes, yeah, it does seem like the Arcane Congress is helping, but this doesn't seem like directly from mages. This seems like the aid in scrolls or maybe even arcane objects, but I believe scrolls more specifically.
And how proficient with magics do you have to be to touch a scroll and use it?
Moderate. You don't have to be an excellent, but the better you are, the more success.
They're amping up their power, essentially, by giving them resources, even if they haven't directly learned.
Yes.
But they're still mages.
Yes. You could know how to use magics, but that doesn't mean you know how to use this magic. And
yes.
I think that's what they're doing. They're just maybe the weaker of their group. They're giving them the scrolls, the knowledge, the temporary ability to cast these spells.
How many do you figure?
So
can I get a sense?
Let me continue on with some of the other description of. So it wasn't just one; I took 3, right? So you go over to another building, and one similar thing, you can actually notice that there seems to be a bit of a theme to this. That electricity seems to be the most common thing, and when you think about it, makes sense. A Malta, if you're not dealing specifically with Gish, if you're dealing with just typical soldiers, generally wear metal armor. It protects them. So it makes sense why there seems to be like a lean towards the kind of electrical magics that they're using to battle the Maltese soldiers. Gish, again, are a different conversation. They don't usually wear metal. They tend to lean towards lighter armor. It doesn't get in the way of their spell casting. And they also don't conduct things like electricity, which is kind of a good thing, or attract electricity, right? So, but another thing that you notice is that, again, all of the spells here seem to be coming from that, again, that almost like papyrus taste that you get in off of all the things that are here. Occasionally you'll kind of detect that there's a weaker magics, kind of like lingering, almost like stale magic that comes out of, you can feel like it comes out of a wand. These are kind of like sad spells. They almost feel like echoes of what the spells should have been. Never has the mage's actual might behind it that created the spell, but you can still feel them there. But most importantly, with casting of a wand, that doesn't require too much skill. Casting of a scroll requires a bit more. If you had to guess, this all came from 2, maybe 3 battles. So it could have been the same couple of soldiers over and over again, or there are a bunch that were trained. It's hard to tell because the workmanship of the scrolls are consistent. But you can't even fine-tune that yet. Not with a 17, sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's higher than a 17, that's pretty.
Well, to know the craft of who made the scroll, yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty tough. So I'll relay that again to Oscar, and I'll say, I'll tap his armor, and I'll say, it looks like they might be giving him spells to target people like you.
Well, people who wear armor, metal, and Oscar kind of lifts up the a little bit of the scale, just enough to show the leather cuirass that he wears underneath it to help protect against exactly that. Just an extra layer under his armor.
Yeah. I don't know how many specifically, but these look like from 3 distinct attacks. And I'll point to the one that was created by a wand and go, this one looks to be the least magically capable. This is from a wand, not a scroll. And then, if there's any more surveying, that's pretty much what I'm capable of looking for. I don't know what Oscar can look for.
Pretty much that's pretty much it as well. Like, he would have been doing pretty much the same stuff here, but I guess what he's looking for right now is he's looking for people who are especially wary of Laszlo, as Laszlo is going around casting spells in their town.
The funny thing is the touch thing isn't even an actual spell. It's just my ability to manipulate the magics, the flow of magics.
So
you did describe your lighting up.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm sure there's still signals, right?
Yeah,
of some sort, but it's not like, chanting or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, nothing so over. So you going around in what again?
I'm looking specifically for people who are watching us, who are lingering on the look of a gnome casting magic in their town. Does anyone look particularly wary?
Not casting magic though, touching things and kind of
touching things with magical kind
the
of
air,
things
stuff like that.
happening.
He looks investigative. Is really how he looks. But either way, gnome being weird. But honestly, it's one of those things where people are watching after you, but when they see a gnome being weird, they also see a Venator walking around with his spear out, maybe his shield out. That's up to you.
Shield's
behind
on the back
him,
right now.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where people will be tossing looks, but specifically at Laszlo, not at you. It's one of those things where if let's say he comes around the corner, like he's like brushing his fingers along the side of a building, comes around a corner, somebody might see him, be like, and then they see you kind of step around the corner. Like, oh.
If I catch that happening, I'm actually just gonna stop and say, out of curiosity, is it that he's a gnome, or is there something else?
And it's one of those things where you can see that they're clearly embarrassed that they pointed it out. Racism in Aurorum, or specifically Aroth, is pretty rare, but at times, like in places like this, it's more heightened than typical. So you can see the embarrassment that it's called out that they're.
I don't mean anything by it. It's more just you've been exposed to a lot lately.
Almost in my Wednesday night accent. There are rumors that there are gnomes around, and maybe, he doesn't say gnomes. There are rumors that the Congress is around and doing things. For a moment.
I understand. And those rumors, what can you tell me about them? We just came into town. I'm trying to get a feel for things. He's with us.
I can't tell you too much. I can tell you that this wasn't gnomes that did this. Though I keep saying the word gnomes out of game. Sorry. I mean to say Congress. I can tell you there wasn't Congress that did this. At least not directly. It was the Perrin that did this, and it's funny because the man that you're speaking to is Perrin. It's Perrin that did this, not the not the Congress, but they did have, magical scrolls with them, so I imagine they were given to them by the Congress. These marks here, it's maybe a week and a half, just over.
How many? Approximately.
That struck?
Yes.
Was, I think, again, rumors.
Of course.
I think it was a 9, 10.
So a small group, but
that died.
wielding powerful. Yeah. They died, you say?
No. He said that died, kind of referring to your side of the battle. And he just shakes his head.
Yeah. Too many, huh?
Nods. A couple
Thank
of the
you.
bastards fell, though. A couple of them did.
Bodies still around?
They didn't live. Rumors, again. And you can see that this is not a soldier, well, not anymore,
Yes.
right? Not a
No,
soldier.
precisely. Where would I be able to get information on who took control of the bodies after they died?
Every town's going to have soldiers pinned around it for safety, right? So you can go to their. They took the old bakery and turned it into a bit of a barracks. I guess they like the fortifications there. And
Always liked bakeries.
Nod. And they took an old temple and they turned it into a bit of a prison. So they've got a couple held up there, I guess. But either way, you can get some word from the soldiers. But true enough, the command of what's going on, it's going to be the next town to the north of here. A little bit to the north, but to the west, not over the line. So maybe not quite half day's ride. If you head out now, you'd probably get there by nightfall. But you wait too long, you should probably wait till morning.
Looking to get a feel for the towns and the people. It's important to remember why we're doing this, why we fight. And Oscar just kind of nods and then says, "Thank you. I appreciate the information."
You can see that, again, Venators aren't as venerated here as other places, right? So, but the fact that you said these words and literally echoed the sentiment of the Queen, it leaves an impression. And so he seems emboldened by it. The two of you, obviously, it wasn't a quick journey. You spent a couple of hours going around checking out these houses, really gathering the information.
Yeah.
Not like a ton of time, about 2 hours, 2 hours 15, including that talk and whatnot, before maybe you're thinking about either doing something else or finding Chris Ellen. Chris Ellen herself, however, she was going around and trying to see what companions she can find and the like. So, Doxy, what I would have you start with that is actually just a simple communications check, just to see how well you did. Yeah.
I clicked the wrong thing. There we go.
Wow, Doxy, just steal the scene. You spending those stunt points on something?
Let me take
Flirt.
a look.
I don't think
No.
I don't think you necessarily need to spend them on anything. I don't know if there's any really. Yeah, sway the crowd. I suppose sway the crowd might be useful. Exploration with floors, resources at hand might be useful.
That's what I was thinking. Hold on. Oh, a focus that I don't have that falls under communication. So let me look at communication things really quick while you can discuss what's going on.
Okay, so with your 19, for the Christ's sakes, total of going around and talking to them, you very quickly win people over. The thing is, like, everything here is dour. I've described that a bunch of times. Everything here is dour. And you're that welcomed breath of fresh air. We've all been to work before where, like, everybody's just in a bad mood. And sometimes somebody can come in, they're too chipper, and it's just fucking annoying. And sometimes somebody comes in and they're just chipper enough, and it just shatters over the course of like 10, 20 minutes, shatters the animosity of the day, and just everybody just brightens up. Like, well, I can't believe Chris Ellen came in, literally brought cookies with her, and she's just so funny. I mean, I was having a bad day. I'm glad she called me out for it. It was like one of those things where you sway a lot of people over, and you don't just win. I'm not talking the entire town, right? But you don't just win over the people that you have conversations with. You easily book rooms inside the inn. Oh yeah, the finest rooms, all right next to one another. Don't even worry about it. And my wife makes an excellent blah blah blah, and ambrosia, cake. I'll make sure she makes it for you tonight. Tosses you a wink, and then not creepy because he said wife. It's not my actual life rules. Shut up, you. So he, but also you eventually actually make your way over to where the barracks is. And you meet the soldiers that are there. And again, it's one of those like, oh, my ladies, it's a pleasure to have somebody of your, what brings you here? I don't know how much you divulge to them, but they certainly are like, how is the road getting here? I mean,
I would divulge nothing. I would say, why don't we all go get a drink? You must be afforded breaks. For the night off, when you're done, come and meet me at the tavern for drinks. I have 2 companions. They would be delighted to meet you.
So again, a couple of the command, would definitely be like, yeah, we'll come, absolutely, So, and again, you get the impression pretty quickly. It's not the command is like, yeah, I could use the break. They can stay here. You know what I mean? The soldiers can stay here and handle things.
Is there a hot one? Is there one that I like?
That's a really good. I guess we have to
roll for hot. Roll for hotness.
Duxie, are you the one that started that on Lost Initiative?
Yes, that was me.
It's my life now.
Do I roll 100 or a 20 then?
Well, it's a 3d6 camp system, so I guess roll 3d6 for hotness.
But we just rolled 1d100 for smut.
Rolling for smut, you have to roll 1d100 because you have to get over 69, Doxy.
All right.
There are rules to these things.
Well, should I do communication, perception, or just a flat 3d6?
A flat 3d6 is their hotness, not your perception.
Okay.
9. They're all right.
They're no Laszlo.
They're no Laszlo. Yeah, because I mean that's technically under average, isn't it? Or is that exactly average?
That is exactly average.
Yeah.
Laszlo,
I'd say
exactly
a road
average.
9. A road 9 is gonna be like a real life 13 or 14. She's used to fucking all the time. Like, she's gonna be lonely.
No.
So,
I'm not saying. There are a lot of very wonderful, average-looking people that you can spend a good time with.
She'd find
Besides, they have to try harder.
best average, point to him and be like, "Bring him along," and she'd toss him a wink.
Wow,
so are you using flirt? Are you using flirt? Is that what's happening?
You know what? I will.
Damn, done. So you say that, and it's one of those fun things where you flirt, and you actually flirt with one of So to be clear, this town here, because it's a border town, actually will have officers here, but no magister. Sorry, has officers here, but no. I'm saying the wrong words. I'm so sorry. Has no savant. It has magisters, no savant. But you actually points to a master. You know what I mean? So it's the highest tier of soldier, and you like bring that one. And you can see like gets like the feathers ruffled of the magister of the officer. Like what? But either way, so they're going to join you later on, and again, you leave that pretty solid impression with everybody. Where you go to meet up? Do you head back to the tavern? Like, okay, I should probably establish my.
I would head back to wherever the wagon was and wait for them to come back.
Okay, cool.
And be like, I got us rooms. They're all taken care of. We have some soldiers that are going to meet. If you guys want to get information,
I would even say,
get my dick wet. Like, we're gonna have a good night.
I would even say, for simplicity, it's one of those things because you were chatting, they were researching. When you come back, they were actually already back for the past couple of minutes, probably just kind of like sitting there having conversation over like what they just discovered, and then you come walking into them.
So we should probably, consider going to that bakery or the temple. One of
We
those
talked
two.
a lot about bakeries.
I like bread.
Yeah.
Bread makes me fat. I prefer fruit and cheese.
Hello, Chris Ellen.
Hello.
Did you have much success?
Yeah, we have rooms at the tavern.
That's much more success than I was expecting. Not
And
from
there
you,
will be-
just from this town.
Soldiers joining us for dinner and
no.
drinks.
All right.
Fine, there will be soldiers joining me for dinner and drinks.
I'm kidding. They're my
Okay.
favorite type of company.
How dare?
There's no winning for me tonight. And I just get on the horse.
She'll shoulder check you playfully.
Yeah,
like-
he'll kind of accept it, but he's not blushing or anything. He's just like, yeah, very clearly he's gonna hop on the horse and say, well, we should find a stable so we can store our horses and wagon.
Are there like horse pegs or anything outside of the inn?
Yep, because again, this is a supply train town, so there's definitely spots where horses would easily be able to be stopped and set up. And there's going to be over by what did I say, the bakery. They'll have an area for horses to be kept there, and so on and so forth. And before we go on, Ollie, your opinion: Chris Ellen or Chrysalin? Which name do you prefer? Nobody's opinion, just Chris Ellen or Chrysalin. Which name do you prefer? Continuing on. So you guys continue traveling over to the tavern. So you guys can grab a couple. My apologies, you said tavern, right?
Yes.
Over to the tavern so you can establish yourself and meet with the commands there, because it's a much more relaxed kind of setting for you to do so. You go in, you'd already met the barkeep earlier. It was one of those things like, hey, I'll be swinging by your bar later. Oh, great, I can't wait till you come in. You rolled a 19, that's insane. Point of reference, a 19 is imposing. It's the second highest DC that's listed on the typical DC chart. You know, it's really high. Oh yeah, I can't wait till you come in. And so you come walking in, they literally come around and say, Chris Ellen, I'm so glad that you're here. And I imagine you go over and you give like a hug, and they're like so happy to see you. And it's like, oh, and here's your friends. I heard you boys like this and this, right? And they immediately go over and start pouring a drink for you.
Oscar gets very weirded out because mead is not that common this way.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, my apologies. It's not good. Like out of game. It's not good mead.
Yeah. No. But just the fact that there isn't mead at all here is weird.
Yeah.
When we have a moment alone, when like it's just me and Oscar, or me and Oscar and Chris Ellen, I'm gonna say, okay, so I've been thinking about this. They said that they saw the Perrin using the scrolls or doing the attacks.
Yes.
What if it was an illusion?
Or some form of transformation.
Could be, possibly. Easiest way is to touch a person if they're doing an illusion. You don't have to be skilled, really, unless it's very powerful magics. But it's just something I've been thinking about.
Full-on transformation, then it's unlikely to be a concern.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I'll take the drink, and the guy comes back and is like, that's just what I'm thinking. I'll look to Oscar and go, these are your people. And I look to Chris Ellen. You can get information from people. I don't know if that will help.
I need to know
Find
what
out.
information you want. And what information you have.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'll just regurgitate what we found earlier about that. We found 3 magical attacks, 2 of which were scrolls were used, and 1 a wand was used. We're not sure.
More than that, but that was just defined.
Yeah, that's the headliners.
Yep.
So not inherently magical people, but purloined magics.
Capable
Yes.
enough to use those in the first place, they have to at least have some familiarity. Which means they may not be the most powerful, and if we can catch them without resources, then they won't be that much of a problem. But if we catch them with resources, they're going to be just as dangerous, at least for a short time, as some of the strongest that you'll find.
I would recommend cutting their tongue out.
Tongue, fingers, legs if you don't want them to run.
We're already slow as is, man. Come on, man. It's messed up.
Chris Ellen's making this fit.
Oscar is also making that same face as he's saying this. It's just...
And the bartender comes over and goes, and here you boys go, and puts them down. And
Thank
he
you.
sits down like he's going to have a cheerful conversation with you guys, not realizing what he's kind of interrupting.
Chrisellen will be perfectly inviting. Actually, she does not want to talk about cutting out tongues. So she'll be like, our sincerest gratitude for the hospitality. The wagon is such a convenience, but none as convenient as the rooms here.
He's like, oh yeah, don't even worry about it. Like I said, my wife's going to make that treat later on, so everything's going to be good. So what brings a Venator and he looks you over, and Squire, I'm sorry, what brings you lot here? He was trying to peg you, and then realized that's Doxy's job, and then kind of gave up.
Yeah, it wasn't a good pegging.
She looks to him and she goes, "Secret mission."
Oscar just starts rubbing his eyes with complete frustration at that. Just
it's like, so like he honestly thought it was a joke. He thought
Yeah.
So he's like, no, really, what brings you all here? You passing through? You staying in for a while?
passing through. But, well, I've been here maybe 4 hours now. Everyone has been so kind so far, and it's been very welcoming.
Do you have bards? Minstrel?
No.
Tough to find this far east right now.
He actually clears his throat. Actually, the war changed about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. It's hard to keep track of day to day. I think there was a shift in who was the general or something on their side, but one of their tactics lately is to be a little joyous on the battlefield. There's not a lot of bards in this area, as it's not really considered very relaxing for the soldiers coming off the field of battle, since they often hear a lot of music on it.
Somber nod.
What can you tell me about that magic, if anything? Rumors is fine.
You mean the magic on the field of battle? There wasn't so many years ago, and then it transitioned, and there was a bit more and a bit more. People was using scrolls and potions and wands and the like to get things done. And shortly after those kind of became pretty prominent, like I said, things shifted. There was actually a general that handled the area recently, or what do they call them? Commander. They handled the situation none too long ago. Honestly, nobody likes losing battles. Certainly, Yovance wasn't a fan of all the land they've lost. But when Commander Jaeger was in charge, there was a degree of respect in the war. After, again, magic became a bit more prevalent. I know that name was talked about less often. Other names were used, and they've switched many times since then. And the war's just gotten a bit more intense.
Any rumors on what happened to Commander Jaeger?
I don't really know much about their army. I just know that name was spoken of with fear and respect.
Who's this new commander?
I'm sorry, I don't know. Maybe the command up north would know. Maybe some of the boys in this town would know too. But the new command for the Paradel, I wouldn't know.
Question. Do you guys keep their dead, or do you give them back?
Oh no, we, as is Multi's law, if they want their dead, they keep them. Otherwise, we'd burn them. Right? We don't want to have corpses lying around, and but there's no reason to disrespect the dead.
Yes.
How long after do you burn them?
I mean, if a field of battle's not been cleared by their own after 2 days or so, you gotta clear it. Things can go sour pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm sure you know, maybe even better than I, what a corpse does after a couple days.
Unfortunately.
Winter was not too bad this year. It was snowfall, but, they continued to clear corpses relatively quickly.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Any crazy rumors about maybe one of them dying and something happening, them changing the way they look, or things happened to them after they were killed?
You mean like those rumors out far east? Like the Barren Lands kind of No, nothing like that. No dead walking. You don't think
Oh,
so?
no.
Happen?
I'm sorry. No.
You see like some
I
fear on his face, like
Yeah.
like because that's like a rumor that's so far away that it's like like it's like a ghost story you tell your children at night, but you don't actually believe it. He gives you that look like it's not real, is it?
No. I mean, in the battles, if one of them fell, has there been any rumors that they looked different or something happened to them? Maybe their body just changed appearance.
Oh, you mean like if there was illusions or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. No, not that I've heard of. No, no, not that I've heard of. I don't think so. No, Perrin is what we're fighting for the most part. I shouldn't actually say Perrin is in the nation Paradel, not necessarily the people, right? They take anybody they can and throw their.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Really wish they would adopt another naming scheme.
Well, you heard how they named the province over there, right?
Yeah, they
Fair
have
enough.
a penchant to, making fun of names. So you saw an increase in scrolls and wands, maybe?
From what I've heard, yeah. Boys coming back and just grabbing a drink, talking about, the whole little sticks that blast. I mean, you know how it is in Malta. We all get a good training, right? We all get a good, at least small grasp of understanding. And I've heard of wands before, but never actually seen one fire off because, that's mostly kind of Congress type magics. We got wands in our nation, but not as prevalent, right? Well, apparently they're out there. The little, I guess, balls of light that always hit people, and cracks of lightning, and big bursts of fire take out an entire squadron. One hit, one ball. It's frightening. And listen, I'm glad to have served my nation. When I did, I put in 5 years. I'm proud of those 5 years. I'm glad to serve it the way I do now instead.
Cheers to that. Oscar raises his mead and just does that and takes a swig.
He'll actually reach over, since the gnome hasn't touched his drink yet, and he'll actually lift the gnome's drink and take a sip, and then put it back in front of him. Does he say or do anything or no?
Chrisellen will switch her drink with his drink, and she'll happily drink out of the one that the innkeeper drank out of.
That's how you get a cold, man. I'll drink and I'll say.
Roll for syphilis. No.
I'll say
Trust
to the
me,
queen.
you don't get that by mouth, bud.
All right,
I'm a whore. It's funny. Come on.
I was really holding back laughter, I'll be honest.
I like that the response was, I'm a whore. Come on.
Come on. Come on.
All right, Tyler's here. No more references to that campaign. Jake's here too. No more references to that campaign. Because we referenced both campaigns this session.
Yep.
So anyways, go ahead.
I'll take a sip and say to the queen.
Everybody drinks up their cup
To the
and
queen.
to the queen again. It's funny too because now you and him
Long
are like,
live she.
and you and him have to take turns taking a sip out of that mug, and it's with this awkward thing.
I
we
would,
kind of pass.
no, I don't think it would be awkward at all. I think it would be fun and jovial
At the
and
same
like a
time-
bonding thing.
You can see he does that like moment where he's like, "Should I go get?" And you're like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, okay." Go ahead, Josh.
No, nothing. That was it. That's it. I don't really. Laszlo just starts going into like his own mind to think.
Sorry. Just after countless sessions with Ollie doing a New York accent and just seeing him write that in chat is just hilarious.
I'm warning you.
Sorry. So go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
Nothing. I'll just look to Oscar and I'll just kind of say, there's things we should talk about. Maybe
there
later.
are many things we need to talk about. I can see why you were assigned here.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, please, you talk.
It was literally that's all I was going to say.
I thought you were talking to me for a second, and I realized I'm not the important one here. I'm muting myself.
No. It's literally all I was going to say is, all right, and then I'll just wait because I don't want to talk in front of this guy.
Yeah, Oscar is at this point just going to be kind of slowly drinking the mead. Now, we have some soldiers joining us at some point here, so he's kind of waiting for that.
Chriselle will definitely pick up on this though, and she'll stand up, walk around the table, lace her arm in the barkeeper's arm, and say, "Show me around this fine establishment. It's the nicest place I've seen in days."
And he is like, so again, like
He's not wrong.
It's one of those things where, don't get me wrong, he's clearly like leaning into like the flirt that's going on, but
It's
not
not a
like,
flirt,
But, you know
it's
exactly, but it's
just
like
charm.
in a friendly way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is not meant to be like a sexy flirt. It's meant to be like just that kind of like very handy,
Inviting.
Kind of, yeah.
Like I'm like that as a I'm huggy. I will squeeze your arm like.
I think I've
not
slept
want
in
your
bed,
penis
Doxy.
anywhere near my vagina. Like I'm that kind of friend.
Again, I think I've
know.
slept in your bed. So
Yeah.
Literally, for the first night in Los Angeles, I passed out on your windowsill. So, moving on.
You also fell asleep in my bed.
I did, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
But I was being spooned by Will because he's like 6'6". He's so big, so big. I'm at 5'11". He's so big.
So big. He's
Just
so big.
so big.
Anyways, so so you walk around with him. He's like, oh yeah, and he walks around and he's like, listen, I do apologize about the decorations. My wife, she keeps wanting to remodel the place, but gotta focus on the more important things, right?
No, please, so charming.
You guys kind of like go off and chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, leaving you boys too.
As soon as we're clear, I'll look to Oscar and go, if they're casting Fireball, we have a big issue.
That is what I think it is, because I don't necessarily know the names of spells. I just know what they do. I'm assuming you're talking about the large explosion that takes out the entire squadron.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful spell.
Yes.
And
I'm aware.
Even if a person is capable of casting it through a scroll, means
They're powerful.
They're more than adequate of a match. We might be dealing with a much larger issue at hand.
Yes.
If we're talking about a person creating scrolls for these people, we're talking a savant level.
Higher, maybe.
It's a different in the Arcane Congress. Savant's really freaking high.
Yeah, see, but Oscar is not thinking in the Arcane Congress. He's thinking in his military.
Yeah.
Mind you, you are very you know of the rank
I
structure.
do.
You just don't know all the colors perfectly, but you know the rank structure. Yep.
Yeah, I know they're high up, but like also high up in the military, there are people who are above.
Not military, Arcane Congress.
Yeah, Arcane Congress.
This is what I mean. Even like any military structure, which you can claim that the Arcane Congress is not a military structure as much as you want, but it really is.
It's not.
It is
separate.
though.
Church
it
and
is
state.
though. Anyways,
separate.
either way, no matter what organization you're in, there are people who are above the top rank in that, no matter what. And that is my concern.
We're also talking about people that are savant level in the Yavin school. That's the more destructive
Yes.
of the schools.
Met some of them.
Yeah. I fear we need to be very careful.
We need more resources than just me.
That or surprise. Someone that's great at creating scrolls or enchanting items, which I doubt they are enchanting them. those two schools are not supposed to be matched. They're not going to be as good upfront and personal as they would be
If I
they're
can
prepared.
get close to a mage, I can kill them. I'm not worried about that. It's getting close. That's the problem.
Yeah, especially if they're... So when he was talking about the balls of light hitting people directly and not missing, he was speaking of a spell called Magic Missile. It's,
Very creative names, these.
They function.
I understand.
It's pretty. It's not deadly in of itself, but it can't miss.
It will chip away at someone without fail. That is more deadly than something that might miss, but take them out in one hit. A skilled practitioner can avoid things like that. Something you can't avoid is something you can't avoid.
Yeah.
I understand.
So if the person here is creating these scrolls, I think they're going to be at a savant level. If it's the person casting it, then adroit. A step below.
And
probably a tier 2.
Realistically, what are our odds against 9 adroit?
9 adroit?
9, that is how many they said came. Now, if you died, but presumably they're trying to stay in squads of the same size. They're going to try and take a strike force in the same manner. We can expect about 9 to 10.
I don't think that they'd be together. I think the smartest tactic would be to place one in other squads to support them. If they were a squad in and of themselves, we don't have a chance with us, just me and you.
Say
if
3.
It's just, I would even go as far as 1 or 2. The supplementing of their magics.
So you think 1 or 2
fighters.
with scrolls and maybe some more with wands?
The lowest will be the ones using the wands. You don't need any real skill for that. The highest will not be in battle. They'll be leading somewhere.
Okay.
So target the scrolls if you run into that. But my fear is there's someone making the scrolls for the parent. They're not dying and changing back.
What exactly is the failings of Yovance? Sending soldier after soldier to die without any real leadership at the front. If they have a scroll maker at the back and they send adequate but not prepared soldiers at us over and over again, I can promise you I will outlast them. That I am not concerned about. We can take them on one at a time until they are all dead and it's just the scroll maker left. But we don't have time for that. We need a better plan.
It also might be smart for us not to let the scroll maker know we're targeting them. Someone that can create scrolls are usually great planners and preparers. They're not people that would be great in a fight, but given time, set up the battlefield in their favor, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Especially if it's a savant. If it's a savant, we have to be very careful.
If it's a savant, I don't believe we're prepared. Not yet.
Agreed. And I'll take it. He'll just chug his drink. I don't know if you get the sense from him or not, but talking about someone of this caliber, this level, is very nerve-wracking for him.
Yep.
I've been writing it in chat, but just for people that might be watching on YouTube or are not reading chat. So again, there are 4 different tiers of what the when you're in the Arcane Congress, what they allow, or I should say, anybody who learns magic under the ruling of the Arcane Congress, they have like a title for people that have earn or learn certain degrees of spells. Neophyte is somebody who learns cantrips or first level spells. Adroit is second through fourth level spells. That's where most people have complete freedom to learn up to fourth level. No, the Arcane Congress does not get in your way at all. They just kind of like stamp this is what you are. However, you have to actually get direct approval by the Arcane Congress and direct training from the Arcane Congress to learn Savant's tier spells, and there's a reason for that. If you want to know, watch Josh's character's backstory. And that's 5th through 7th level spells, and then Preeminent. Very few people are ever allowed to learn that caliber of spell. 8th and 9th level spells, very, very few. I mean, there's a few hundred of them in the entire continent, you know what I mean? Because that's some dangerous stuff when you're mixing those magics, especially if you're mixing schools. It can be very bad. So 4 tiers: Neophyte, Adroit, Savant, Preeminent. If there's a Savant tier here, that means in Dungeons & Dragons terms, there's somebody of at least the 9th level wizard here, which is scary. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, continue.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty much all.
Well,
we're just speculating at this point.
And Laszlo, I need you to be frank with me right now.
Yeah.
What level did you reach?
I was adroit. Is it 3rd tier? It was 3rd tier, right?
You were adroit, so you were, what, 8th level, were you? And you literally, as your mission ended when you left, you were told you just got approval to become a Savant. So you were literally about to go into like maybe a decade or so of training. And by this day, you would be a Savant.
Yeah.
So
I'll say, he'll say, was, before I gave it all up, I was adroit. That was on the threshold of being a Savant.
So why on earth are you scared of me?
I gave up those skills.
Giving up skills and knowing how they work. Oh, you are just very interesting. Why'd you give them up?
I'd rather not talk about it right now.
If we're going to be dealing with a Savant, Laszlo, I need to trust you fully. Now, I am completely on board with the Queen. She has chosen you to be part of the Imaltes people. I have no doubts about that, but I have served with many people that I did not trust fully. I won't do that again.
as Laszlo's sitting there thinking about responding, maybe even opening his mouth, trying to form what the first word he's going to say is, the door to the tavern opens up, and a couple of soldiers come walking in as they're here to meet up with Chris Ellen. So it's one of those things where the soldiers come walking in. There's a moment they're kind of like looking around. It's not sure what's going on. It's not a surprise to see a Venator because lots of people come walking through. So they might just like a nod his way, but don't really look at it. And then one of them says, Chris Ellen, there you are. Oh, it's very obvious. Here happens to be somebody else who's also of the master rank, but just of the typical army, right? And he's walking over and very smiley, walking up towards Chris Ellen, who I imagine turns around and...
beer directly into his hand.
Awesome. Hold my beer. So you, and with that, we will, end session 2 of our fun new little campaign.
Nuts.
Yeah, I like nuts. Peanuts, walnuts, cashew.
Poor Chris Ellen's gonna have to wait another week to get boned down.
Oh, jeez. So anyways, that was, I mean, honestly, a little bit more backstory given out to the other campaigns, which I was happy to talk about. And Yeah, that was fun. I love how you keep knuckling down on poor Laszlo there, Will. He's never
I
gonna
don't know what
get
you're
an
talking about. I don't know what you're referring to at all. Nothing, nothing happening here. Nothing to see here.
Well, anyways, that concludes, like I said, the session this week. So just a reminder, we do go live for this campaign every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. Also Wednesday morning at it's 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Kingmaker campaign, and Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Regicide campaign. All three of them in the same world. All three of them interact with one another. All three of them affect one another. But before we go any further, before I find who I'm going to be rating, let's find out what people are up to. So, I mean, you were just getting beat up, so we're going to give you a moment of glory there, sir. Laszlo. Who are you?
Hi. I'm not Laszlo. I'm Funny One. You can come check out my Twitch channel. I stream daily. Lunchtime streams, so short 2-hour streams, and then I do a Call of Cthulhu game on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's where a group of people think supernatural, but worse. So, because it's Call of Cthulhu, it's not a nice setting. So come check me out if you get a chance. Thank you.
And then Doxy, who are you? What are you up to?
Oh, hi. I am a little butt fucker. You can find me at twitch.tv/ZER0DOXY. I'm nucky, but you'll like it. I promise.
All right, there you go. And are you also never mind. Will, you're next.
Yeah, hi, I'm Will. You can find me at Will and Graham on Twitter, which is the main place you're going to want to look for me right now because I am too busy to stream at the moment because I am working overtime at my day job very constantly, and I'm also working overtime on secret projects.
Secret projects.
Secret projects. Very excited about secret projects, and next week I will actually be able to talk about it officially. So
Perfect. Good. I'm
very
excited because you've been talking about it for
Teasing.
a while. So
officially very certain that next week I'm going to be able to talk about it, and I'm really
officially
excited.
very certain that maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Can't control my feet.
Oh, jeez. Well, thank you all
Such a
very
good
much
song.
again. Thank you all very much again. I'm excited to see how this campaign goes. I'm excited to see what happens next week when we're actually kind of delving into it. But I'm going to go and raid somebody called Kona Daddy because, here's where Daddy lives. And so one daddy to another, I guess. Let's go fight. They're playing D&D. So
Appropriate.
yeah, let's go jump on Kona Daddy. See you all in a bit. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Love you. Bye-bye.
Oh, my hand's freaky.